Good morning, everybody. This is the lesson for November 2nd for my integrated math classes. So, 3 more days of this, and then I'll be back in the classroom on Thursday. So, here we go. Hey, Cleo. Today, what we're going to be doing is working on multi-step equations. So we're going to take all that distribution practice we did last week, and we're going to put it into equations. Now, here's the thing. I know some of you guys, might need, might have issues or questions regarding last week's stuff. We're going to kind of close off last week and make sure everyone's starting on the same foot this week. So before we get going with kind of working through the worksheet and just kind of expanding what we've already been doing, it's important to just do a quick review on PEMDAS, the order of operations. So this is kind of how we do what we do. And you'll hear, PEMDAS right there, PEMDAS, referred to when people talk about the order of operations. So the order of operations is this agreed upon way that we do problems. That we do parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And that is just how we do problems. Because, and we all agree that that's the way we do them, so we get the same answer. So make sure you have this written down. And away we go. So this is multi-step equations. So what you'll notice is that some of these look kind of familiar. Some of them require, the same kind of general idea that we've done before, but they're just a little bit more complicated. I'm not sure that sentence made all that much sense, so I apologize. So let's look at number 1. So we have 4 times 1 plus 5x equals negative 96. Now, there are actually multiple ways to do this, and so it's important that we kind of understand both ways. And so the first way is what we've done before. Because we have that multiplication on the outside and we need to move outside in, we're actually going to divide by 4. So on the left-hand side, the 4s cancel out. And then we have negative 96 divided by 4. Grab our handy-dandy calculator, plug it in. And we get negative 24. So remember, when we divide those 4s, they cancel out. So now we have negative 1 plus 5x. Or we have 1 plus 5x, not negative 1. Negative 1 is what we're going to do. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. Just remember, what we're doing here is trying to isolate our variable by using inverse operations. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So now we have 5x equals negative 25. Because remember, if we go negative 24 minus 1, we move further negative. Think about it this way. I lost $24 gambling. I then lost another dollar gambling. So how much did I lose? Besides my wife for gambling. Ha, ha, ha. I lost $25. If we continue to move negative, if we have a negative number that we then subtract from, we're going to get more negative. So negative 24 minus 1 is negative 25. So now we have 5x equals negative 25. Remember that if we put a number and a letter next to each other, they are joined by multiplication. So we have 5x equals negative 25. We get rid of multiplication with division. That's its inverse operation. Divide both sides by 5. We get x equals negative 5. Now, there are two ways to do this. The other way, and here's what, and I'll show you both ways. And then, so you can do either way, because what I'm going to show you is that either way gets you the right answer. As we go through and work through them, I'm going to kind of flip-flop back and forth between the two ways. Sorry about all the yawning this morning. So we have 4, and what we're going to do is we're going to distribute that. So we have 4 times 1 plus 4 times 5x equals negative 96. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 5x is 20x. And negative 96 is negative 96. So now we have distributed, we've gotten rid of those parentheses, which if you think back to the previous problem, that's what happened when we got rid of that 4. We got rid of those, we moved the 4 over, got rid of those parentheses, and we were able to turn this into kind of your standard two-step equation. So we have 4 plus 20x. Remember, we move from further away to closer. So we're going to get rid of that 4. It's a plus 4, so we subtract 4. That gives me 20x equals negative 100. 20x is 20 times x, so we divide both sides by 20. And we have x equals negative 5. Notice, x equals negative 5, x equals negative 5. Which way is the right way to do it? I don't care. They're both right. They'll both give you the same answer. So number two, we're going to start off with division. So we have that negative 5 times negative 1 plus 2r. So we can move that negative 5. We have two options. We can either distribute it or divide it out. On this one, I'm going to divide it out. So negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. 1 times negative 1 plus 2r gives me 1 negative 1 plus 2r. Equals, and then we go 85 divided by negative 5, and that's negative 13. So here we have negative 1 plus 2r. So notice that it's got that negative out front. Well, how do we get rid of the negative? With a positive. So we have negative 1 plus 2r, and we add 1. We do it to one side, got to do it to the other. So negative 1 plus 1 is 0. And that gives us 2r equals negative 13 plus 1, or negative 12. 2r is 2 times r, so we divide both sides by 2. We get r equals negative 6. Okay, now moving forward, wonderful sub. What I want you to do is kind of move forward as a class. Some people might decide to work ahead, and that's okay. But in general, as a class, holy crap with the yawning. Try and stay together, and that way everyone's working on the same problem at the same time. Students, if you do decide to work ahead, once I actually give the answer on a problem, please make sure you reference back to that problem to make sure that you are doing it correctly. If you feel comfortable enough to work ahead on your own, that's fantastic. I want to encourage that, but I also want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So if, we start on 8 and you do 8, 9, and 10 by the time I'm done with, number 8, or we're starting off on 3 clearly, but then when we end up going over number 8, I want you to be able to look back and go, hey, I got number 8 right. Awesome. Now, if you get number 8 wrong, then I want you to make sure that when we do number 9, that you're paying attention to make sure that you understand the process, how we do it, and you're able to figure out where you went wrong. So number three. So just hit the pause button, wait a couple minutes, 2-3 minutes should be fine. Give everybody a chance to do number three, and then hit play. And that'll just repeat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on, and so forth. So go ahead and hit pause. And we're back. So 8 times 8 minus 5v equals 344. We're going to divide both sides by 8 because it is 8 times. When we have a number next to a parentheses, it is multiplication. So we have 8 over 8 on the left-hand side, and that gives us, that those cancel out. Because 8 divided by 8 is 1, and 1 times anything is itself. So in this case, itself is 8 minus 5v. 344 divided by 8 is 43. So now we have 8 minus 5v equals 433, or 43, sorry. And that is our two-step problem. So how do we get rid of the 8? We subtract both sides. And that gives us negative 5v equals 43 minus 8 is 35. Divide both sides by negative 5. And we get v equals negative 7. Now, as always, if we wanted to, we could go back and plug this in and make sure we got the right answer. So what we do is we take that v equals negative 7, we rewrite the equation, and we plug in the answer that we got. So that gives us 8 times 8 minus 5 times negative 7, or 8 plus 35. 8 plus 35 is 43. 8 times 43 is 344. So that checks, right? See how they're the same? That means that our answer, negative 7, is correct. Okay, go ahead, and we're going to do number 4. Hit pause. And we're back at it. So this one I want to distribute. So again, if you want to do it the other way, just make sure you're getting the correct answer. So negative 84 equals negative 6 times 8 minus r. We distribute that negative 6. So we have negative 6 times 8 minus, make sure you bring that minus across, negative 6 times r. We then do our multiplication. So we have negative 84 equals negative 48 minus 6 times r is negative 6r. Clean that up. Those two negatives become a positive, and there's our two-step problem. So we have negative 84 equals negative 48 plus 6r. How do we get rid of that negative 48? We add 48 to both sides. Yay! And this gives us negative 36 equals negative 16. Or sorry, negative 6r. And it's not a negative 6r, it's a plus 6r. I'm not really sure. That's a weird thing to do, is to write that positive down. I must have, I'm assuming that I started writing something else down and then tried to make it look like it was purposeful. It did not work. So we're dividing both sides by 6, because that's how we get rid of multiplication. Negative 36 divided by 6 is negative 6 equals r. That's my answer. So number 5, same general idea. Go ahead, hit pause. Give everyone a couple minutes to work on it. Once people are done, then we move forward. So go ahead, pause. Okay, so we have negative 364 equals 7 times 4 plus 8n. I'm distributing on this one. So we have negative 364 equals 7 times 4 plus 7 times 8n. We then do our multiplication. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 8n is 56n. So now we have negative 364 equals 28 plus 56n. Got to get rid of those numbers, so we're going to start off by subtracting 28 from both sides. That gives us negative 392 equals 56n. Divide both sides by 56. And we get negative 7 equals n. Number 6, go ahead, hit pause again. Let everyone work through that. And we're back. So this one I'm going to go back and I'm going to divide again. What I really want to show you guys is that you can do it either way. I want you guys to become familiar with both. I realize that everyone's going to have a favorite, and that's totally okay. Just favorite, maybe stretching it, but a way of doing a problem that you'd prefer to do. So we divide both sides by 6. That gives us 15. Now it's a positive 15 because we had a negative 90 divided by a negative 6. When you divide two negatives, you get a positive. So 15 equals n plus 8. And then we just go ahead and subtract n. Subtract 8. We get 7 equals n. For number 7, go ahead, hit pause. And we're back. So on this one, I'm dividing again. So we have 5 times 3 plus 7x. That 5 is attached via multiplication, so we want to get rid of it by dividing. We divide 295 by 5 as well. If we do it to one side, got to do it to the other. So this 5's cancel out, leaving us with 3 plus 7x equals 59. So now we have our standard two-step equation. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. That gives us 7x equals 56. Divide both sides by 7. And we get x equals 8. I was waiting for the, screen to go blank, but apparently I just wrote on the same screen. So number 8, go ahead, hit pause. Everyone work through. And here we go. So this one I'm distributing. So notice a little bit more difficulty here. We're adding in another step. We're going to have to combine like terms here. So we have that 7. And when we have those extra numbers there, like we do on 8 and 10, really distribution becomes the only way to go. Because if we try and divide first, we're going to end up with some really nasty fractions. So dividing first is fine for problems like number 7, but would be an ungodly mess on number 8. So 7 plus 2 times 6 plus 2 times 8r, or a rather, equals 83. Let's clean this up. 7 plus 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 2 times 8a, 16a, equals 83. We can combine like terms. 7 plus 12 is 19. Plus 16a equals 83. We then bring down 19 minus 19 is 0. 16a equals 64. Divide both sides by 16. And we get a equals 4. Easy peasy. So number 9, we can do either one on this one because the reason we couldn't do the division first on number 8 was that 7 right there. There's no corresponding number on number 9. So what we're going to do is we just divide by negative 3. That gives us negative 6x plus 6 equals negative, or positive 30 rather. So now we have our two-step problem. Negative 6x plus 6 equals 30. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. It gives us negative 6x equals 24. We're going to divide both sides by negative 6. And we get x equals negative 4. Make sure you guys are copying down all the steps and not just the answer. So, number 10. Again, we have that 1 out front, so we need to distribute. Again, go ahead, hit pause, let them work through, and then we'll do this. So we take that negative 7 and distribute. Now, it's really important that when we're distributing a negative 7, we distribute the entirety of the term. So we're not just distributing the 7, we're distributing a negative 7. So we have 1 minus 7 times 3. We bring down that negative from the 3 minus 4a. And then we do the negative 7 times 4a equals 148. Let's clean that up a little bit. We're going to do the multiplication. 7 times 3 is 21. Minus negative 7 times 4 is negative 28a equals 148. 1 minus 20 is negative 20. Then we have negative 228. Two negatives, so that becomes a positive. And that's 28a, not 25a. So we have negative 20 plus 28a equals 148. We're going to go ahead and add 20 to both sides. And that's going to give us 28a equals 168. Divide both sides by 28. And you get a hidden number. It's a equals 6. I'll move that. Give me a second. There we go. The first one was messy even by my standards. So anyway, moving on. Number 11. Again, number 11. Notice here we have, so from 11 on, we're going to have variables on both sides of the equation. So that is problematic because it's just that extra layer of difficulty. But it also means that we absolutely and 100% need to distribute. So we're going to go ahead and distribute. This is a more difficult problem, so I'm not going to force you guys to try and work through it yourself. I want to show you how it works first, and then you guys can use that knowledge to go ahead and complete the rest. 4 times r minus 2, so that turns into 4 times r. Bring down the negative. 4 times 2 equals 3r minus 12. So 4 times r is just 4r. 4 times 2 is 8, equals 3r minus 12. So we have 4r minus 8 equals 3r minus 12, so we need to get down to the business of combining like terms. We're going to go ahead and subtract 3r from both sides. Again, keeping your variables positive. 4r minus 3r. If I have 4 rats and I lose 3 of them, I have 1 rat left. So that gives us r minus 8 equals 3r minus 3r is 0. So r minus 8 equals negative 12. We're going to go ahead and add 8 to both sides because that's how we get rid of subtractions with addition. And so 8 minus 8 is 0. So that gives us r equals negative 12 plus 8 or negative 4. So now go ahead on number 12. This might take a little bit longer, so give them a good solid 3 minutes, and then hit play again. So here we distribute 4 times 1 plus 8b. That turns into 4 times 1 plus 4 times 8b equals negative 7b minus 35. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 8b is 32b. And nothing happened on the right-hand side. So now we need to combine our like terms. We need to put all our variables together. So in order to keep my variables positive, I'm going to take that negative 7b and I'm going to add it to both sides. That gives me 4 plus 39b equals negative 35. 4 plus 39b got to move outside in. So we get rid of that 4 by subtracting 4 from both sides. That gives me 39b equals negative 39. Divide both sides by 39, and you get b equals negative 1. Number 13, go ahead and give them the opportunity to work on this. And then go ahead and hit play. Woo, wrong button. So first things first, we need to distribute that 5. So we have now negative 34 plus 7a equals negative negative 34 plus 7a equals 5a minus 5 times 8 is 40. We're going to subtract 5a from both sides, keeping our variables positive. So we have negative 34, 7a minus 5a is 2a. And the 5a's cancel out, so we're just left with negative 40. So we have negative 34 plus 2a equals negative 40. So we have that negative 34 there. How do we get rid of a negative? We add. So 34 minus 34 is 0. The 2a comes down. And then we have negative 40 plus 34. So that's the same difference as 40 minus 34, or 6. But because the 40 is bigger, we're going to go with a negative 6. Divide both sides by 2. And we get a equals negative 3. So this should, one, in all fairness, I doubt that you guys made it this far. I'm really proud of you if you did, don't get me wrong. But I'm going to stop here because I, think that you guys have this covered. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and email or, call me, whatever. Look forward to getting back with you guys later this week. Until then, stay safe and work your butts off. Thanks.